Well, good morning, everyone. I'm going to double check this thing, make sure everything's working here. It's taking a moment to get loaded up, but I'm going to do a quick sound check. Looks like we got a good sound. All right, we are good to go. All right, welcome everyone to the multiple Miata Mayhem setup guide. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to run you guys through a quick summary of the cars. I've got them all set up here in order. We're going to be running 4 Miatas, all at different specs. And I've got the summary here on my phone. I'll review that after we're done with this first one, and I will post that into the chat, those of you that are participating in the HECS. And again, this is HECS Event 14. This is our 4th event of the Fall Championship Series for all the marbles. So we've got a very tight points race, and I'll summarize that after I do this quick initial summary. And the reason I'm doing this quick initial summary is a lot of you don't want to go through the whole build, so we're going to go through each car and all its specifics and how the room is going to be set up for each particular car. So I've got that right here on my phone, and I'll be going over that with you. So let's start at the beginning. First of all, we're going to be running Tsukuba, all of these races. And what I've decided is I'm going to switch things up a little bit. We are actually going to run qualifying in the first race in the Roadster touring car, because that's our premier car. We're going to run qualifying in the first qualifying heat race in that, and then we're going to go backwards through the list on the first night. That's going to be our qualifying heat race night. Again, 4 races. They're all going to be about 20 minutes because you're going to get 20 points for a win. And then on the main race night, we're going to run 4 races. They're all going to be about 25 minutes because you're going to get 25 points for a win. So 25 points on the table just to make it exactly even between both races. So this is one of the events where it's going to be weighted dead even for the amount of laps you're running. So it'll be like basically a point a lap. So that's roughly how we do it. We don't really do any one single race events anymore, since the way the system doesn't allow us to do that. So again, it'll be multiple Miata Mayhem, very similar setup to last year, only instead of running 3, we're going to be running 4, now that we're doing a quad event in every 4th event in each series. So we'll start off with this bone stock Roadster in ND, and I will go through these cars. Like I said, I'm going to do a quick summary here. It's going to take about 5 minutes, probably, roughly, and then we will go through and do each car. I'll build each car for you, so that those who want to follow step by step can just follow step by step. This car, very easy. This car is basically a, and also the other thing is I'm going to share these base styles so that you can actually load that up and you can have the logos and move them around if you want to, all that kind of stuff. But at least you'll have a base styling if you want to do your own livery. Okay, and I've really got a nice looking, we got a really nice looking license plate on. Let's see if we can show you that. Now this one's got the special one. I couldn't duplicate this without a lot of work, so this one has a special one. We kind of were trying to make it, Makoto and I were working on getting a license plate, but I figured something out I could make faster than trying to do all the words individually in that. So, all right, so without further ado, let's check the settings on this car. This one's very easy. This is the stock NRA ND, which is basically kind of like a factory race car. So if you look here, it already comes with sports suspension. We did not buy this. You notice everything's grayed out. You can't adjust anything. The ECU and everything is stock. So this car is bone stock. The only thing we're going to do is buy Comfort Soft tires for it, because I think it comes with Comfort Mediums. Maybe it comes with Comfort Softs. I'm not sure, but we'll find that out when we build it. That's the easiest build we've got. There's nothing to it. It's going to be stock wheels on the first 2 cars. So this one will have stock wheels. You can change the color of the wheels. You can paint it however you want. We're not going to be adding any aero things. We're not going to be adding a wing to this car. This is basically a bone stock car. Okay, just as Mazda ships it with its special suspension from the factory. All right, so that's an easy, quick synopsis. Now we're going to move into the Roadster S. And this was going to be the stock car, but we had modified this car last year, so those who did it last year, I wanted to make sure that you had the same thing. So this one, basically, similar setup. We are going to add some things on it, so I'll go through that. But if you want to do a quick synopsis on here, this is using sport soft tires instead of comfort. This car will have a full control computer, sport suspension, which I think we actually have to buy on this one, and then we'll have racing air filter, muffler, and exhaust, sport brakes, racing brake pads, semi-racing clutch and flywheel. Okay, so that's pretty simple. This one, the only thing that we're really adding, if we go in here to the GT Auto, the only thing we're really adding to this thing, and you can do some of this miscellaneous stuff yourself. Again, the wheels are stock, so we're going to keep those stock. You can change the color. The only thing I want to see, no wing on this car. We want to put a roll cage in it. Okay, so that's the one thing you want to add in there is roll bar. Okay, tow hook you can add in if you want. I did put one on this one, and then hood pins I did not put on this car because it's basically a stock car. Light bulbs you can do as you want, and I would suggest getting rid of the front plate. That's what I always do, but you can run a front plate if you want to put livery on that or whatever. So that's pretty much it for this one. Then we're going to get a little bit more complex when we get into the next car here. Okay, now this car is basically the same type of build as our other cars, but it's built to a specific spec, and that is we're basically taking an NRA stock car like we used in the first round, and then we're going to have, this one's going to be racing medium tires only. Okay, we're going to allow a height adjustable sport suspension, fully customizable differential. We're going to have the aero ads, and I'll get into that. Full control computer. We're going to have to add 9 on the ballast after we do our weight reductions, and I'll go over that. You can move your ballast where you want it. Fully customizable manual transmission. Racing air filter, muffler, exhaust. Racing brakes and pads. And then the brake controller you can run, and then our racing clutch and flywheel. And then this one, we're going to fully build this motor, and I was building it for more torque. So bore up, engine balance tuning, high lift camshaft, titanium connecting rods and pistons, racing crankshaft, high compression pistons, weight reduction stage 1, weight reduction stage 2, and increased body rigidity. So this car is like basically a hisser type build. Full on build, and then we're going to be at 200 horse and 2,000 pounds. Okay, and then as far as ads go in this, again, it's going to be basically the same thing we would do with the hisser, but this car would never make hisser spec. It just doesn't weigh enough. So that's why I built this one this way. We're going to go in, and the first thing you're going to do on this car, as far as the body modifications go, is you're going to do a wide body. Okay, that's step 1. All right, then you can go over here, and then your wheels are 16-inch on this spec. Okay, 16-inch, and I've got that on there, and they're going to be wide. Okay, so when you go to buy them, you go 16-inch, and then you just go wide, and then there's your wheels. And then we'll get into our other cosmetic stuff here. So we got our wheels, and you can just, the easiest way I always say, start at the left and work your way right. Go to custom parts. Front, we're going to want the type B splitter. Side, we want the type B side skirts. The rear, we want the type A. See how that's like a splitter? We don't want the type B, we want type A. And then, as always, our wing, to make it consistent across the whole board, it's a medium 22 wing. Okay, medium wing with a 22 end plate. Okay, that's pretty much everything on all of our builds, just to make it as easy as possible for people to build cars in our series. So, hood pin, you can run whatever you want. I personally like these modern ones on the newer cars. Tow hook, I prefer the type B, but you can use whatever you want. And then this car already comes with a roll cage because it's an NRA. Again, that's the thing that this car comes with from the factory. So all our cars will be basically race spec type cars as far as roll bars go. And again, I will share these liveries. I did all of these cars for display, and you see I got a different plate on this one, which is the same one I had on the second one. I'll share these liveries or these styles, so you guys can download the style and then you can go in and edit the livery if you want to. All right, so that is a brief synopsis of we call it the FQ2 spec, but it's actually spec 3. And then our final one is, of course, the Roadster Touring Car, and this is not a stock Roadster Touring Car. It is a modified version. It's almost exactly the same as what we ran in in Steve's PRG Mazda Miata Touring Car Championship. But we did make a couple of exceptions. In this particular instance, we're going to allow racing softs on this one because we're going to qualify on it, so you can qualify on the racing softs, but the race will be set for racing mediums, okay? So just letting you guys know, the race will be set for racing mediums. You can run softs on this car to qualify. You can run softs, but you would probably have to pit because everything's going to be set to 4 times, so you're probably going to wear them out in 25 laps anyway. So you can do as you want. If you want to try to pit, you can. This car is fully spec'd out from the factory, but we can add a few things. We're going to add stroke up, engine balance tuning, and racing crankshaft. And then we're going to add increased body rigidity, which I would recommend on the 2 spec race cars that we have that I allow the builds on. Brake system is going to be racing, brake pads racing, brake controller, racing air filter, and racing clutch and flywheel. I think those are the only things you can add performance-wise. Full control computer, of course. We will get our power restrictor and ballast. You don't have to get it for this race because we're going to be running at 100%. Fully customizable racing transmission, so that's going to give you a little bit tighter. And again, we're only adjusting the top speed. Downforce, you're going to have to, if you're going to run racing softs, you're going to have to compromise on your downforce a little bit. I've set the number at 636, and this I think is as low as you can go with this spec setup because these other things change the car very little. And of course, I just put everything kind of in the middle here, so kind of just to get a compromise. But this car, as far as the cosmetic stuff goes, again, we're going to be starting off here. This car already basically is a wide body, so you don't have to do that. Now, wheels are going to be 17-inch, okay? So we're going to be 17-inch on the wheels in this one. And this one, you don't get the option of wide. So it's just going to be 17-inch spec wheels. And then custom parts, the wing is going to be a medium 22. Okay, so again, across the board in my series, just to make it as easy as possible for everybody to build cars. Racing items, there's really nothing. Other parts, you can do the light bulbs, because there might be some night racing, hint, hint. And then caliper color, once you have the racing brakes, you can put the caliper color on there. All right, so that's a brief run-through, quick run-through of the cars. Let me just kind of go over the specs with you here, just so you know. I'll put up all 3 cars here on the menu, the garage menu. Excuse me. All right, so if you look at our specs, starting from the bottom, the Roadster NRA, again, this is a bone stock car. It's going to be 424 max PP. That's how the room will be set. This will be set at comfort soft only and stock wheels only. So that's what we want in there, is just stock wheels, comfort soft. Okay. The Roadster S, we're going to set that one at 515. Basically, again, it's basically a stock vehicle, except we've got some bolt-on adds like our air filter, the computer, muffler exhaust, sports brakes, and racing brake pads. I think it's let's just double check here. In fact, let's go into this car just to show you. This was it's basically bone stock NRA ND from the factory with comfort soft tires. Okay. Now the Roadster S. Again, we're going to have sport suspension, which comes factory on the NRA, but not this one. Full control computer, racing air filter, muffler exhaust, sport brakes, racing brake pads, semi-racing clutch and flywheel. Okay. Everything else is basically stock. and sports soft tires. Okay, sports soft tires only. Okay, these two are going to be stock and just basically stock tires. And again, the only add on this car cosmetically, you can add tow hook if you want, but we got to have the roll bar in it. Okay, because the rooms will be set at these numbers. It'll be set at 2,183 pounds, and you'll be set at 149 pounds or horsepower max. Okay, next car. Again, that room will be set at 515 max performance points. And then when we get into our, what I was calling the FQ2 spec, now we're calling it the Spec 3. This one is going to be, again, a full basic HECS type build. We're going to go wide body. We're going to go into putting 16-inch wide wheels and tires. We're going to go across and do the Type B splitter on the front, the side skirts, and the rear diffuser, which is Type A, and then the medium 22 wing. And this car comes with a roll cage, so you don't have to worry about that. This car comes with a roll cage from the factory. And then we're going to be using racing medium tires only on this car. There's going to be no qualifying on this car, so we don't have to change anything. Height adjustable sport suspension, fully customizable differential. Your downforce, you'll be able to compromise a little bit on that to get your numbers where you want. Remember, when you add front downforce, it increases your performance points. Hey, thank you. When you take away rear downforce, it increases your performance points. So you have to balance that out. As far as ballast, you're only going to have 9 ballast, and you can put that where you want it. I'd recommend to the back, but you can put it where you want it. Fully customizable manual transmission, racing air filter, muffler, and exhaust, racing pads and brake system, brake controller, and racing clutch and flywheel. And then we're going to do a full build in this engine. We're going to do bore up, skip over stroke up, do engine balance tuning, skip polish ports, high lift camshaft, titanium connecting rods and pistons, racing crankshaft, and high compression pistons. Then weight reduction stage 1 and 2, and increased body rigidity. Again, that'll get you at 200 horse, 2,000 pounds. And you should be just under 595, which is going to be our max performance points in the room. And again, those are 16-inch wheels and tires, wide offset and wide wheels. All right, and then again, our Spec Miata touring car. This car comes with a lot of stuff on it already. So what we're going to add, and we're going to go backwards on this one just to make it easier, increased body rigidity, racing crankshaft engine balance tuning and stroke up. We're going to do our racing clutch and flywheel, brake controller, racing brake pads and brake system. Racing air filter is the only thing you can add there. Fully customizable racing transmission. Again, we're only going to adjust top speeds, no individual ratios. Power restrictor. You don't need to have that or the ballast because we're leaving it as powerful as we can. Output adjustment is going to be full control computer at 100%. And because of that medium 22 wing, you're going to be able to add downforce. And then differential already comes fully customized. We're going to add the fully customizable suspension. And we have full adjustment on that. You have full range on adjustment on that however you wish. But remember, you got to keep it under 636 pp. So you may have to compromise on your downforce. Remember, when you take rear downforce away, you drop performance points. So if I do this, or I'm sorry, when you add rear downforce, you take away. So if you see that, it goes down. So 205, I think, is the minimum, or the minimum you would have to be able to make the spec. Because if you look at 206, well, maybe it wasn't 207. Oh, no, it's 204. I went the wrong way. Yeah, 204. I think 204 is actually the minimum. Okay, yeah, so 204 would be your minimum, 635.89. So, and again, you might have to adjust that depending on how much. This was a brand new car, so you might be able to do a little bit more if your car's a little worn. But that is a quick synopsis of all the builds. Again, the Spec 4 room will be set at 636, 251 horsepower, 1,753 pounds. That'll be 17-inch wheels of your choice. And the room will be allowing mediums and softs, and you can run qualifying on softs. The FQ2 spec, or Spec 3, is going to be 595 max PP, 200 horse, 2,000 pounds. The Spec 2, or the Roadster S version, which I call the Road and Track spec, is going to be 515 max performance points, 149 horse, 2,183 pounds. Again, that's stock. Sports, softs only, stock wheels only. And then the Roadster NRA stock car is going to be 424 max performance points, 130 horse, 2,227 pounds, comfort, soft only, stock wheels only. So that's a quick summary of everything. Now, we're going to take a few minutes here and we're going to build each car, which should be pretty easy. So, before I do that, though, I wanted to touch on point standings because because JT left out after the first race in the last event, which was won by Logan, who dominated and won every single race in the event, all 6 races, and set fast time. So he got pretty much the maximum points you can get as far as race points in that. So the final standings of the event were Logan in first with 284, Steve in second with 253, Nook in third with 243, Keith in fourth with 233 points, Makoto in fifth with 225, Dr. Nasty in sixth with 216, myself and John tied at 212, and then Zippy and Eric tied at 199, then Adam with 194. We had Joe Expat in there at 186. Alazov, I think he's from New Zealand or Australia, I can't remember. I think I always say the wrong thing. At 183, and then DJ at 170, and JT ended up with 164, including his attendance points. So, our standings have changed, and Steve Sanders is now back in the lead of the points with 1,713 points. Zippy's just 6 behind him at 1,707, and then JT is just 10 behind Zippy at 1,697, and then it's really tight in here. Fourth is Keith, just 3 points behind JT at 1,694. Myself, just 2 points behind Keith at 1,692. And then Nook, just 6 points behind me at 1,686. Makoto, 2 points behind Nook at 1,684. John, 13 points behind Makoto at 1,671. And Adam, 35 points. Yeah, 35 points behind John at 1,636. And then Eric, just 17 points behind Adam at 1,619. And then Logan, making up for missing one event, is up to 1,574 points. And then Nasty had his first event, so he's at 1,216. DJ, his first event, at 1,170. And then Josh is still at the standard reset of 1,000 points. So our 14 eligible drivers, we have 10, the top 10 within 100 points. In fact, it's 94? So Steve at 1,713 and Eric at 1,619. It's 94 points difference. So not a big difference, but that can all be made up, and some one person have a bad race and another person have good races. So this will be a good event. This event's going to have, it's going to have quite a bit of points because you're going to have more qualifying heat race points. So it'll be 20 more points available than a normal event. So that is the brief summary of everything going on right now, and I will get into the builds now. So let's start off, since we're already in the touring car, and that's our premier car. We're going to go, and you can buy this car in Brand Central. Everything that I had, I did it so we could buy it in Brand Central, because I was going to use one of the original cars, but that's only available in used, and I didn't want people to have problems getting a hold of a car. So here, we're going to go find that touring car right here, Roadster touring car. That is the winner. We're going to build a white one. All these cars that I build, I'm going to do white. We're just going to leave the livery on them. Okay. Okay, so we're in that car now. And like I said, first step on these things, I always find it easier just to go into the GT Auto and do that stuff first. So we'll start with our wheels. And I'm going to use the standard wheel that I use all the time. And that is my BBS FS wheel, and that's going to be 17-inch standard. They don't allow you the wide because they're already wide, being a race car, so that's that. Custom parts, the wing is going to be a medium, and we're going to do 22 because it comes standard with a 7. We're going to do 22 again, that's so that's consistent across all of the series, or all the spec cars we build. Light bulbs, you can add your lights because we probably be racing the last race at night. So these Roadster Touring cars, and then also the stock NRA. And then you can add caliper color later if you want. So now we'll go over to the build section on this car. It's pretty simple. It goes up pretty quick. The second car is a little more difficult to build because this car already has a bunch of stuff. So we're going to start over here, and we're not going to do really anything in here. And you see that none of this stuff is available. So we're going to get our... Actually, you don't actually have to buy the power restrictor and ballast with this one. So we're going to do racing crankshaft, fully customizable computer. We're going to do increased body rigidity. And you see all this stuff that's already on there. We're going to do engine balance tuning. And I think we do the stroke up too. I'll have to double check that. I think it is. Yes. And then we're going to do racing brake pads. And then either or of the brakes you want, slotted or drilled. I usually just get both. I don't think it makes a difference. Brake balance controller. Fully customizable suspension. Racing clutch and flywheel. Fully customizable racing transmission. Oh, racing air filter. There we go. There's our other 5 horsepower. There we go. So I missed that. Sorry, people. And then you can buy whatever tires you want. Again, we're going to set this car up on softs because that's going to be the room max. Okay. And I think that's everything in our build. So you can follow me through on that one. And then we're just going to go into settings. And again, I'll show you the max setting you can do. Again, this is set at 250, but I think we can come all the way down to 204, I think it was. Yep, 635.89, and there's your settings. And again, you can set your top speed here. And you can set this, basically, these, as long as you can keep it in spec wherever you want. Same thing with all the torque and stuff. I've got like 4 cars set up with different setups. So the weather will be changed, so don't forget that. But that is your setup for your Roadster Touring car. Very simple. Like I said, the only thing you can buy is the suspension, the computer. We're going to add that medium 22 wing just so everybody's consistent. Fully customizable racing transmission, racing air filter, racing brakes and pads, brake controller, and this racing clutch and flywheel. Again, we're doing stroke up, engine balance tuning, racing crankshaft. I think that's all it allows. And then increased body rigidity. So this car comes to 251 and 1753. And again, if you want to add more downforce, you're welcome to. But the max is going to be right there because if I hit 203, it goes over the 236 mark. Okay? So that is your setup. Alright, now we're going to go buy ourselves another NRA. Oop, wrong button. Brand Central. Go under Mazda. Under Asia. And then we're going to do this NRA. Again, this is a factory race car, basically. Like a spec race car. So we're going to buy the white one, and we'll keep the livery on it. It's very inexpensive. These cars are very inexpensive to build. Now, this one is your basic stock setup. You could buy this one, run this livery, and be fine. I do. Again, no, we're not going to do anything to the tires, anything on the body side to make the stock car. Okay? The only thing we're going to do, and you could conceivably, possibly run both, but oh no, you wouldn't be able to because we have weight reduction on the other one. So you'd have to buy two of them, regardless, if you don't have one. So, just going to go through what you would do. You would just go down here to Comfort Soft. Actually, Comfort Softs come on the car, so you wouldn't even have to buy those for the stock one. So this is basically your stock setup on that. You can do your livery as you want, but you cannot change the wheels and tires. They need to be stock. Stock wheels, tires are stock, sport soft. So basically $31,000 to build your first car. But now we're going to go in and build this as the spec racer car. So first things first, you always want to do first thing, and I went in the wrong spot. You want to do the wide body first. Okay, so that's the first thing we're going to do. It takes it a second to load up. Okay, now we go to car customization. You want to do the 16-inch wheels. And again, you can use whatever wheel design you want, but they need to be 16-inch wide. Okay, we're going to add this one. We're going to do wide. Okay, and that is your stock wheel there. And then we're going to add the front Type B splitter, the side Type B ground effect, the rear Type A diffuser style splitter, and then the custom wing medium 22. Okay, so there's our basic build on the outside. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I was going to go you through the other stuff here. And I bumped out of it too fast, so bear with me just a moment. Waiting for this stuff, I get impatient. So, alright. So we did the custom parts, racing items. Again, you can do hood pins as you wish. Tow hook as you wish. Roll cage is already on the car factory. Light bulb, I'm going to get the brightest ones. License plate I'm going to do on the rear only. Okay. If you want to use the license plate on the front, that's your prerogative. You can do that. So now we're going to go into the build, and this is going to be a little bit more complex on this one. But again, it's the same exact build as we would have on any of our spec cars that we build for the HECS. A fully built race car from a road car. So we're going to start off with weight reduction stage 1. We are going to do, I think it's, what do we skip over? Stroke up, bore up. I'm just going to make sure I'm, what do we skip? Stroke up, polish ports, I think. Okay. I'm just going to look, I'm just verifying here. I just want to make sure I'm getting this right for you guys. Okay. Alright, so weight reduction stage 1. Alright, here we go. That's what I want to make sure of before I get myself out of. So we're going to do bear with me here, folks. I don't want to lose my spot here on the video. Yep, bore up. We skip up, stroke up, and polish tune. Yep. So we're going to do all of these. High compression piston. Yeah, we're only skipping stroke up and polish ports. So we're doing everything else. And then we're going to do weight reduction stage 2. We're going to need our power restrictor and our ballast. Although we're not actually restricting the power on this the way it builds out. Racing crankshaft. Fully customizable computer. No turbochargers or anything. Fully customizable LSD. Height adjustable sport suspension. Fully customizable manual on this car. Increased body rigidity. And then we're going to skip the stroke up and the polish ports, but we are going to do the balance tuning that allows us to rev out a little more. And then we're going to have a racing air filter. Muffler. Exhaust manifold. Brake pads, and either one of the brakes. Again, I always buy both because it's so cheap. Brake balance controller. I think this is racing clutch and flywheel, right? Let me make sure that's right. Yes, racing clutch and flywheel. And then again, this one is only racing medium tire, so that's all you got to buy, because that's all we're speccing out in this one. And nothing over here in the extreme. Alright, so there is that. Again, let's go through it again. Weight reduction stage 1. Weight reduction stage 2. You're going to at least need your ballast. You don't necessarily have to buy the power restrictor, but it's $800. Racing crankshaft, fully customizable computer, height adjustable sport suspension, fully customizable LSD, fully customizable manual transmission, increased body rigidity. Then our engine balance tuning, we are going to skip stroke up and polish ports. Racing air filter, racing muffler, exhaust manifold, brake pads, brake kit, racing clutch and flywheel, and then our brake balance controller, and then our tires. So that is this one here. And then again, you notice that the spec on this one, again, I want some compromise here. So the spec on this one is going to be $585 for the room. So what you're going to have to do is adjust your downforce. Okay, you can either add rear or take away front. You can add both if you want, but you're going to have to add more, take away front. So if we look at this, we're going to go down. As we keep going down, we get underneath that number. We can also add rear. That can do it as well. So you can add some front and add some rear and keep it underneath. So that, again, you're going to need a little bit of compromise there to make that work. And the ballast we got to do to 9. And you can move that as you wish. That's why the number was down. So then you can add some. I think I set pretty much every car at like 75, 150, just to. Yeah, maybe it wasn't 75, 150. There you go, 75, 175. So again, you can set your ride height, you can set these specs, you can set your camber, you can set your diff, you can set your fully customizable manual top speed. So that gets you under, oh, it's 585. Ah, that's why. $61.68. That gives you a little compromise there. So that's right. How's it going, Makoto? Just finishing up here with the FQ2 spec, or the Spec 3 as we call it last night. Spec 3 Miata, and we're going to finish that one off and head into the Roadster S. Let me find it on my screen here, that way I can pause it and make sure I got everything right as I build it. Alright, so here we go. We're going to build this one. We're going to go into Brand Central. And this is the Roadster S, not the Roadster NRA. So make sure to get the right one here, okay? Because this is the only one that's different. Roadster S ND. So this is basically a bone stock Miata. We're going to go with the crystal white pearl.
I'm okay, how you? I'll rewatch everything later, make sure I got everything right, but for now I let you speak.
Okay, appreciate that. Yeah, this car is not too difficult to build. Again, the NRA, stock NRA is the easiest one to build because it even comes with the correct tires on it. And there's nothing allowed on that one. So, all right, now this one is not wide body, but we do need to go in and do a little bit of customization. We're going to be keeping stock wheels on this car. And then no wing, nothing here on the aero mods. Racing items, you can add tow hook and hood pins if you want. Again, I'm probably going to add tow hook. But we want to add the roll cage. That is one thing. I want these to all look like race cars. And that helps your rigidity too. Light bulbs, again, you can do as you wish. I would recommend the brightest ones. And then the license plate, I recommend getting that out of your cooling. But if you want to run it for your livery, you can. So that's all you can do on the cosmetic. Basically roll bar. And then a few little custom items there. But no aero ads on this one. Alright, so the only difference on this car is that we are going to add a few things. No weight reduction instrument. We are going to get Sport Soft tires. That's the only ones we're using. Sport Softs. And then as I'm going through my readout here, I'm going to build this. So we're going to avoid the yeah, that's right. We're going to get the sport suspension, not the street suspension. Sport suspension. So it's going to be in this section. We'll get the sports brake kit. And then we're going to get the sports suspension, which I think is actually under semi-racing. Nope, right there it is. Okay. Sport suspension, which is the same the NRA has from the factory, but this one does not, so we're going to add that in. And then we're going to get the fully customizable computer. Again, I was shooting for a 250 max on this one. And then we're going to get the semi-racing clutch and flywheel. And then we're not doing any body rigidity, any of these, nothing on this stuff here. But we are going to add a little power adder here. Racing air filter, racing muffler, racing exhaust manifold. That gets us to 1 to 49. And then we're going to do racing brake pads. And no brake balance controller on this thing. None of this stuff down here. So that's it. That's your build. It's 515 is the limit. And you get under there easily with that. So it'd actually be under 514. So that is the Roadster S, and that is the SPEC 2 car. Okay, it's not quite stock, but our easiest one, again, the easiest one to buy and build is this one right here. And it's very simple. Our SPEC 1 car is the Roadster NRA. And that's it. It comes right with everything we need. This one I'm going to buy in... Yeah, I'll buy this one in white because it's not wide body. And that's it. 424 is the limit on this room, so nobody can be able to modify anything on these cars because the room will be set. And I'll go in and show you again. And if you want to, you can go in and add, like, you could add a tow hook if you want. But there's going to be no aero adds. You can add hood pins if you want. I'll add the tow hook. Roll cage is already in there. The other parts you can add the light bulbs. And if you want, you can move the license plate to the back, which I like. I don't like front plates. So, but that's it. That's the 4 Miatas we're using. And again, the first 2 are pretty darned easy. The third one is probably the most complex, but again, if you've built our other cars, it'll be the same exact build. So it's something I've tried to be consistent with. We're using medium 22 wings across the board just to make it as easy as possible so we don't have these cars that are way out in left field as far as trying to figure out how they work. We're not going to have individual settings on anything, but you are going to get a little bit of leeway because you can see 424, 515, and then this will be 585, and then 636. So that is the room settings. And again, you might have to do a little compromising on these 2 cars. But we're basically a stock NRA, basically what I call a track day modified Roadster S, and then our fully modified NRA, and then our factory race car, touring car, modified. And this one, for some reason I'm down on power here. Let's just double check, make sure I didn't miss something. I'm down on something. Oh, I didn't do the titanium connecting rods and pistons, so that was an error on my part, people. I think that's an extreme, and I think that's why. I was like, why is that one down? Yep. So that one would have to be in the ultimate. Okay. And again, I was shooting for 200 horse, and I was able to build the engine without any restrictions at 200 horse. So it's 595, not 5... I thought that seemed weird, 585. It's 595 on that one. And again, however you set up the arrow will affect that. So I think that's about all I got for y'all. Again, we'll set this up. We'll show you like a max setup. I think it's like 75, 150 if I'm not mistaken. 594. Yeah, so you could actually add some more front downforce, take some rear away. Let's do... Actually, we'll take away the rear adds PP. Adding rear... Yeah, 593. And you could go like 80... Yeah, you could go 85, like 140 or 135 probably. Yeah, see, you can go down to 130. Add 90. Yeah, so you can play around with that number. You can play around with your suspension. That'll move it just slightly. But you got the basic setup. And again, the touring car. I'll give you another chance to go through all these here. We'll start with the touring car. These are our settings. Again, you can set your... I'll give you a quick review here. Rigidity, racing crankshaft, engine valve tuning, stroke up, clutch and flywheel, brake controller, brake pads and system, racing air filter, fully customizable racing trans, full control computer, medium 22 wing. Your fully customizable diff comes with it. Fully customizable suspension is an add we are allowed, and then racing soft tires. And again, I'm probably going to set the race for racing mediums, but you can qualify on softs. And we're going to qualify in this car and run the first race, and then we'll go 4, 3, 2, 1 spec. So we'll do this spec, then 3 spec, then 2 spec, then 1. And then on main race night, we'll do it just the opposite. We'll start with the 1, go to the 2, go to 3, and then end up with this car. So this is our main event car. This is our main car. So that's why I'm doing qualifying in this car this time. All right, and then this is our FQ2 spec, or spec 3 car. And again, if you go over here, pretty much everything but stroke up and polish ports, including the titanium connecting rods and pistons, which are under ultimate, so don't forget that. Weight reduction stage 1 and 2, increased body rigidity, and then everything else is racing, clutch and flywheel, brake balance, pads and brake system. Air filter, muffler, exhaust manifold, fully customizable manual, full control computer. We're going to have all of our aero adds type B, the front splitter, the side skirts, and the rear diffuser type A, and then our medium 22 wing. And then we're going to be racing medium tires only, and then your height adjustable sport suspension, which you can adjust as you wish, and the fully customizable diff. So that's that one. And then our Roadster S, which is basically a stock car with bolt-on parts. We're going to have a semi-racing clutch and flywheel, racing air filter, muffler, exhaust, sport brakes, racing brake pads, no brake balance controller on this one, full control computer, standard trans, no extra downforce, and then we're going to add the sport suspension. And then we'll be using sport softs only on this one. So 515 will be the room setup. And then again, our Roadster NRA is basically as you buy it. It's exactly as you buy it. Comfort soft tires. So that's all I've got for you for this, guys. Again, got a very close points battle going to our 4th event of the 5-event championship series. So we're halfway through because we have 2 weekends. Remember, we have 2 weekends in the championship event. So we're 3 weekends in and 3 weekends to go. And this one will give us the most points as far as race points go for the nights of the whole Fall Championship Series. So chance to make up some of those points. Don't forget, this is Thanksgiving weekend, Black Friday night, and then that Saturday night. And if we have any issues with anything, we'll leave Sunday afternoon for our rain date. So that's it for now. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you around next time. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. If you want to join us to race, reach out to me on PlayStation Network with the message. I do have the app on my phone, so I always have access to that. Again, it's just KingPittdawg, capital K-I-N-G, capital P-I-T-T, capital D-A-D-W-G. That's all my setup, so everything's as easy as possible for people to get a hold of me. And that's it. Thank you all. We'll see you around next time. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell. And we'll see you on the next one. Until then, KingPittdawg, out.